Hi, everyone. I am Nicole Elizabeth Dimery. I am a B2B SaaS consultant, growth marketer, community person. I do a lot of community stuff, and copywriter. So I really identify with all kinds of different titles as long as they're around B2B SaaS. And I have quite a few passion topics or intersections of those topics that I really love. And one of them is aligning SaaS content marketing with product management and customer success. And that is what I'm talking about now. And I break it down into 4 steps, which kind of aren't really steps because you'll be working on all of this kind of at the same time, and you'll be revisiting it as your startup grows and as your company changes. And there is no one-size-fits-all approach either. So that said, it really depends on the startup. It depends on your team. Do you have a team that breaks down silos and works on alignment? And I'm sure that other people have lots of different approaches than I do to this scenario. But if you listen to this talk and you have any questions or constructive criticism, feel free to reach out and I'd love to discuss it with you. So I know that it probably sounds unbelievable that you can bring content marketing and product management together because they're so different. But you can take content marketing and work with product management to help both and really help your entire startup align behind a single vision of your ideal customer, align behind your customer's desired outcomes, be less distracted by support tickets. And that's not to say that support tickets are bad. They can actually be a really good sign that your customers are trying to be successful with your product. But I mean more of the support tickets that are really simple and repetitive and can be automated and be answered by a knowledge base. And finally, to help you produce products, features, and updates that result in retention and growth. And part of why I love this intersection so much is because I don't believe that inbound marketing is sufficient for SaaS customer success. Now, that said, I love inbound marketing compared to outbound marketing. I also don't do any paid marketing. I'm all about building relationships and really getting to know your customers and having conversations with them, building communities with them, and spending time with them, and instead of paying to get in front of them. But that said, inbound does have some strengths, and that is in creating awareness, consideration, and decision-making for the stages of the buyer's journey so that your potential customers become aware that they have a problem and they start considering the different ways to solve this problem, and then they start deciding on what products and services are going to help them solve this problem. So it attracts your ideal customers, and you offer genuinely helpful content to them and help them reach the CTA. It depends on what stage they're in. So a CTA might be a call now button, it might be a form that you're filling out, it might be a buy now button, and that's that. You're set. You've got the sale. And what else is there, you might ask? Well, all the stages of inbound marketing typically address acquisition, which is great, but you also need to retain customers or you won't grow your business. Inbound marketing doesn't do much, if anything, for retention, but your content strategy together with product management or your onboarding process should. Your goal isn't just to attract and convert customers, because SaaS is subscription based, you also have to keep them too. And again, that means connections with your customers and keeping those long-term relationships. So Trevor Hatfield, Katie Katz, and I created what we call the SaaS marketing journey. And it kind of goes over what inbound marketing plus customer success content look like together to create an entire journey for SaaS. And we did create this in 2016. I'm sure that it's outdated in some ways, and there may be even other models out there by now that people have created and that are awesome. However, if you are interested in checking ours out, go to interact.com and you'll access a detailed description for each section of the journey. And if you have any questions about the SaaS marketing journey, just shoot me an email at nikki.elizabeth@gmail.com. So when we talk about retention, we of course have to look at the data behind it. According to Bain & Company, a 5% increase in customer retention can increase a company's profitability by 25% to 95%. And according to ProfitWell, increasing retention had a 6.71% impact on a company's bottom line compared with acquisition, which only had a 3.32%. And of course, the quote that we always hear, I mean, I've seen this one so many times, from Gartner, 80% of a company's future profits come from 20% of their existing customers. So when I talk about customer success and retention being so important, this is one of the reasons why, is the growth that you see from your existing customers, from cross-sells, upsells, brand advocacy, your brand advocates acting as a virtual sales force on your behalf by word of mouth marketing and lower cost of acquisition, longer lifetime value, and so on. We could go on and on about how awesome retention is. So the 4 steps to align SaaS content marketing and product management that I take are identifying your ideal customer, establishing language market fit, and I say establish because language market fit is an ongoing process that you should always, always, always be working on. And you'll also want to determine your ideal customer's desired outcomes and address the success gaps that are in the way of your customers meeting their success milestones to get to their desired outcomes. So you will want to get started with identifying your ideal customer. And I think of this as the first step because you can't really know what language to use to speak to your customers until you know who they are. And when you're, identifying your ideal customer, be sure to understand that your product is not for everyone. Even toilet paper which is ubiquitous, has different ideal customers for different brands and different types of toilet paper. So just like your product, it's going to be for a very specific group of people. Also, ideal customers are defined before marketing personas. An ideal customer is someone who has a problem you are uniquely equipped to solve, who is willing, able, and happy to pay for your solution, and who is delighted to have found you. And when I say who is happy to pay for your solution, I mean they are paying. They're not just saying that they will. There's a really big difference. You'll find that in the early stages, a lot of people may say that they will pay for it, but then they don't. So be sure that when you're taking that in consideration, look at who is actually paying for your product. And there's a lot of confusion around ideal customers, especially among startup founders. It's too easy to think that any customer who buys from you is ideal. And this might come from the old adage, the customer is always right. But that's wrong. To identify your ideal customer, you'll be starting from one of two places. Your business already has customers, or your business is brand new or still in the idea phase, and you don't have any or many customers. If your business already has customers, then you've probably noticed that some of these customers love you. They're exactly the kind of customers you wish you could multiply by the thousands. Make a list or a segment of these customers by appropriate experience. Know who they are and how to reach them. And when creating this list, make sure that the customers on it are in fact achieving their goals with your product. And appropriate experience is how the customers need to be treated and supported by you so they can reach their desired outcome. An example of that is low touch versus high touch customers. And of course, you're going to want to get more specific about that depending on your product. For an airline, it might be that some customers' appropriate experience is that they want to feel safer. So they're going to pick an airline that helps them feel safer, for example, versus one that doesn't. So appropriate experience is really important. If your business is brand new, make sure to answer the following questions to the best of your ability. What problems does your product or service solve? Who has that problem? And be as specific as possible. Remember, your product isn't for everyone. Are they ready, willing, and able to solve those problems with your solution? Does your product help those people not only solve the problem, but also meet their desired outcomes? Who really needs to solve the problem or their lives will be ruined? And so basically, it's not just about having a problem, it's about the severity of the problem. I am way more likely to pay for a product if it helps me solve the worst problem that I've got versus a problem that, life will go on if I don't get it solved. Things will be fine. And what jobs does your product help your ideal customers do better? And how do these jobs get the customer closer to their desired outcomes? And whether or not you believe the customer is always right, not every customer is right for you. And that's okay. In fact, it's great because that means you can safely get rid of customers who take up all of your customer service agent's time, return more products than they buy, complain about you on social media, and generally make your life and the lives of your employees very difficult. Keep in mind that your ideal customers are not marketing personas. Defining ideal customers comes way before. Sorry about that. Keep in mind that your ideal customers are not your marketing personas. Defining ideal customers comes way before any marketing initiatives when we're building the foundation for customer success and customer development for a SaaS. For example, a founder at one type of startup will have a different motivation, desire, budget, and so on from a founder at another type of startup. There's a different kind of nuance when defining ideal customers versus marketing personas. To establish language market fit, I recommend picking up the book Value Proposition Design and getting it in a physical format. It's a really beautiful book. There's lots of illustrations in it, and it's very intensive. So it'll ask you sometimes the same question over and over from different angles so that you're deeply thinking about the language that your customers are using and how you can use that same language to communicate with them that you are uniquely equipped to solve their pain points. Once you've determined who your ideal customer is and you've gone through the value proposition design book, you can create marketing personas based on those ideal customers. And once you've got those personas defined, you can start working on your SaaS content calendar. And this calendar should include inbound marketing content for awareness, consideration, and decision making, and customer success content for retention, monetization, delight, and so on. So you want to bring both together to create a unified SaaS content calendar that gets potential customers interested in your product or service and then gets current customers staying interested in your product or service. And in the book, The Value Proposition Design, it goes through gains, pains, and customer jobs. And gains are the desired outcomes your customers want to achieve. Pains are the customer's pain points, the problems you can solve. Customer jobs are what customers are trying to get done in their work and or lives. And HubSpot offers a resource on how to create detailed buyer personas for your business. This is for if you don't want to take a really deep dive and you kind of just want to create something, like you're in a rush or something like that. But instead, I would highly recommend working through jobs to be done and creating personas that way so that you can understand why your ideal customers take the actions that they do rather than just assigning personality traits to them that don't really tell you why. And knowing the why is really important to being able to predict future actions. So going back to creating the SaaS content calendar, you'll need to be able to understand your customers' desired outcomes before you can create the customer success content part of the calendar. So retention begins with good onboarding, and good onboarding begins with the customer. User flow design should not begin with asking yourself questions, but with asking your customers what they really want to achieve, i.e. their desired outcomes. Then you can ask yourself how to get them there. Gathering qualitative data on what your users want to achieve is the foundation of a customer-centric engagement. Before you can break successes down into milestones, you'll need to understand what success means for your customer, how they measure it, how their bosses measure it, and what they hope your product will ultimately do for them. Qualitative data can be gathered through individual interviews, open-ended surveys, or focus groups, but whichever method you use, I would suggest asking ideal customers who are those who stand to gain the most from using your product, are likely to love and recommend your product, and are happy to pay for your product. And if you ask for feedback from anyone who doesn't meet these criteria, you won't get the answers you need to attract the customers that you really want. Once you know what success looks like to your customer, it's time to build a structure that lets them reach it. As you may have noticed in the course of sifting through voice of customer data, your customer's ideal outcomes are well outside of your product, at least most products. So for example, if I purchase a calorie counting diet app, my success isn't filling in my meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's a success milestone. My success is feeling fit, strong, confident, and beautiful. So simply using the app isn't helping me to do that. That's just completing the functionality of the app. Or maybe I just want to fit into my perfect pair of jeans that I loved and have been missing. So using the diet app to monitor caloric consumption will help me reach my goal, but it's only one tool. Achieving this goal also requires exercise, willpower, determination, moral support, and the ability to overcome everyday obstacles. These are called success gaps, and they are the hurdles between your customer and their success that your product doesn't address. Yet, to be successful with your product, your customers have to navigate these gaps. A good customer success program helps customers achieve their desired outcomes and does so with customer success content. So in this example, you might have content on the best exercises for burning calories, or how to get an accountability partner to help you with willpower and determination, or how to find communities for moral support. And again, those things are outside of your product, but they can be in the form of content that you offer to your ideal customers. And to show you what this looks like, I've got a really, really simple flow. Obviously, a real product, it's way more complicated. There's segmented users and lots of different paths. But in this flow, you're going to see something like user, success milestone, success gap, success milestone, desired outcome. So our goal is to bring the product user flow together with the customer success user flow, so the functionality inside the product meets the desired outcomes outside of the product. So in this case, we've got the user who is someone who is exercising. We've got success milestones, which are tracking calories. We've got success gaps, which are willpower, determination, avoiding that chocolate cake. And we've got success milestones again when they're able to overcome those success gaps and eventually 6 months later, however long it takes, they reach their desired outcome. And that was accomplished through not only using your product, but also educational materials that you offered in addition to your product. So that kind of content could be blogs, in-app messages, drip campaigns, webinars, academies and courses, knowledge bases, and so on. For example, Adespresso's Academy doesn't fit into the awareness, consideration, and decision-making stages of inbound marketing because it's not focused on bringing in new customers, but instead it's focused on keeping the ones they have. And the way that Adespresso works is that it is a platform that you can use to manage Facebook ads. And if someone is managing Facebook ads, simply putting an ad on Facebook isn't helping them meet their desired outcome. That's just using the functionality of the product. So the desired outcome of the person placing the ad is to increase their revenue through ads. So Espresso has an academy that teaches their ideal customers how to write really successful ads, how to do conversion optimization on your landing page, and everything else that someone who is placing ads would need to know, because a person can use Espresso all day, but if they don't know how to write a great ad and their landing page is crap, then they're not going to meet their desired outcome. And HubSpot has a similar model. They offer inbound marketing certifications for free and introduce marketers to their very, very impressive, huge platform at the same time. They also build success markers into their onboarding process so that new clients can easily keep track of how they're doing and can get help if they're not meeting their own benchmarks. So if this sounds overwhelming, just remember there's 4 steps. Identifying your ideal customers, who's ready, willing, and able, and what are their desired outcomes, and what are their appropriate experience for meeting those desired outcomes, establishing language market fit, and filling in the gaps to save your business and get retention so that your customers are not churning. If you would like to learn more about desired outcomes and success gaps, definitely check out 16 Ventures. I originally learned about these methodologies on his blog, and since then have been applying them into my own work in different ways. And honestly, you can learn so much from his blog. It's one of the best blogs out there. There's no fluff. If you want to learn customer success, just read his blog. So a couple of resources to check out that I've got. I'm working on a playbook to grow your SaaS business with your customers, and you can sign up to be notified when that will be out. That's saasgrowthplaybook.com. And if you want to check out the SaaS marketing journey, here's the URL to do that. I mentioned it earlier in the slide deck. And then also on my website, you can sign up for my newsletter, and you can also sign up to be notified about when Alora Weaver and I will be hosting our customer obsession masterminds. So we will be doing different types of masterminds for 6 months each, in which we're teaching SaaS founders just pretty much everything that we know from years of working with SaaS startups. So you can also, I'm on Twitter, LinkedIn, just reach out to me wherever, and I am happy to jump on a call with you and have a virtual coffee and discuss anything that I've gone over here. If I wasn't clear or anything like that, I'm a very new speaker, so I'm sure that there's some things that probably didn't make sense, but I'm happy to hear from anyone. And thank you all so much for your time.